Hey everybody, welcome back to another live stream. Before we get into the show, which will begin in a moment, I wanted to let you know that if you have any questions throughout the stream, remember you can always ask them on our website. We have a live chat support ready and able to help you. My team there is available if you have any questions about any of our products, services, or just have a question for fun. Check it out. Link will be down below in the description.
The stream will be starting shortly, but while you wait, you can check out our sponsors 8cap, Forex Tester, and Superfunded. You can find the links to them down in the description below.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another live stream. Before we get into the show, which will begin in a moment, I wanted to let you know that if you have any questions throughout the stream, remember you can always ask them on our website. We have a live chat support ready and able to help you. My team there is available if you have any questions about any of our products, services, or just have a question for fun. Check it out. Link will be down below in the description.
Coming to you live from our studio in Atlanta, Georgia, this is the A1 Trading Daily Show. Whether markets are rising or falling, we're here to keep you up to date with the latest market news. Join us as we trade currencies, commodities, and indices live, Monday through Friday.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another live stream. We are back in the building from a very busy weekend. We actually put on our first seminar event in person. James, are you feeling well rested after all that chaos on Saturday? I know our feet were hurting. We were standing so long.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I see Angeline in the chat. Hello, Angeline. Jason was there as well as I'm sure a few more of you watching today. Vanessa is another regular that we recognize. We were really excited to see everybody there, and it was a lot of fun. We hope that we can do it sometime again soon. So if you missed out, no worries. Hopefully, maybe one day we'll be back at it again. But yeah, let's take a look here really quickly at the market heat map, get a good idea of how some of our assets are trending throughout the market to start off the day. And one thing that I noticed right off the bat here is up top, I'm seeing a lot of euro crosses, EURUJPY, Euro AUD, Euro USD, and Euro CAD. So it seems like the euro is having a little bit of a bullish momentum run to start the morning here today. And taking a look down towards the bottom of the list down here, I'm seeing a lot of Swiss franc crosses, but the opposite way. We see Aussie CHF, USD CHF, Pound CHF, CAD CHF, and NZD CHF. So a lot of Swiss down towards the bottom and Euro up here towards the top to start off the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And Euro pairs holding their own here. It seems like Swiss franc pairs cannot catch a break. We'll have to jump into some analysis. James, is there anything on the radar this week worth noting. I know just a week to look way ahead, we have the May 3rd meeting from the Federal Reserve, which is, of course, going to be a very highlight moment. But what about this week? Have you had a chance to look at any of the stuff coming up?
Yeah, so nothing really happening today. There's really nothing going on today. But tomorrow we do have US dollar CB consumer conference as well as Australian CPI numbers looking a little bit further in advance. We have advanced quarterly GDP for the US as well as unemployment claims on Thursday, and the new monetary policy statement for the Bank of Japan on Thursday as well. And Friday, wrapping out the week, we have GDP numbers for the Canadian dollar, as well as core PCE price index for the US dollar. So nothing too crazy. We have a little bit happening pretty much every day, but no major events, no NFP, no FOMC, nothing like that. But still a few things here and there that we should keep track of.
And just to pick out some of the notable ones for me, especially since where I'm focused on and where this channel is focused heavily is a lot of the US dollar crosses. James mentioned that on Thursday we have advanced GDP and unemployment claims. These are big ones. Tomorrow we may see some movement there at 10 a.m. Tuesday. But then also, again, I would say probably the biggest one on the list here today is that news that comes out Friday, which is core PCE price index month over month. So should be an interesting week. James, thank you for filling us in on the latest. And yeah, we'll have to catch up with you in just a bit.
Yep. See you in a little bit.
All right. Yeah. So let's dive into some charts here, guys. First of all, I just want to say to my friends in the audience that made it out this weekend, some of you guys came from far and wide to be there for our in-person event. It was a fantastic event. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of people turn out. It was really, really good. And to you guys in the audience who are watching, who are regulars, you know who you are. Thank you for being there. It really meant a lot to my team and I. Let's jump into some charts, see what's going on with the markets here this morning. S&P seems to be getting a little bit of a push. I am currently long. Here is my position. Let me pull that up here so we can see that. I'm currently long S&P 500. Watching to see if this one can catch a little bit of a bid to the upside here. I'm still pretty bullish on the S&P. I think that the market, here's the thing: when you're talking S&P, when you're talking, US 30, NAS 100, SPX 500, if you're trading any of the major indices here in the United States, one of my biggest bullish points, I would say, and again, there is conflicting stuff. It's a very hard time to be a bull or a bear right now, I would say, in the markets for S&P traders. One of my bullish stances, I would say, is that, earnings season is upon us. And it seems like right now, the market, the bears in the stock market have been like super calling for, an earnings recession, like major, terrible earnings numbers. And they've been doing that for like a year now. Despite rate hikes and that sort of thing, it seems like, I would argue, that the market is looking somewhat resilient. And so I actually think that there's pullback opportunities to play. Looking for expansion back up higher when looking at the S&P 500. So that's why I'm partially long. I also liked the technicals on the chart, on the 4-hour chart, that sort of thing. So here is the S&P 500 on a 4-hour chart. And you can kind of see where I'm at with this price pulling back to supportive structure, holding that here today. So my stop loss is in place. I'm going to try and trail it if I can, if this thing can make a move back to the highs. Again, I'm looking for a return back to like 41.72. If we can get back up into that area, I'll be looking to trail stops on this and see if I can continue to hold on to it. Yeah. So in terms of other charts, let me know, guys, what would you like me to pull up on the screen here today? Comment in the chat and we'll take a look at that. Sell in May and go away. That is, in fact, the saying. Has it held up every year? No. Seasonally, we could take a look at that together. In fact, this is why we have data, right? Let's go look at the indices. Let's see what the S&P 500 is looking like seasonally. So we have a +3 buy rating overall on the S&P 500. But what about seasonally? May is historically a pretty positive month. So is June. July is historically a pretty positive month as well. And so is August. September, not so much. But again, just because you hear a phrase does not always necessarily mean the data exactly marries up with that. So again, I'm still very much bullish on the S&P 500. And I think, part of the reason Part of the reason is, again, earnings have been relatively mixed, but not terrible. And I think that the market, especially many bears out there, have been calling for terrible earnings for months and months and months now. And we're not seeing it. We're not now. Could it happen? Sure. But right now, again, I'm staying long until evidence shows up. I don't trade based on rumors. I trade on what's in front of me, what's making the most sense right now. Gold, okay, couple chart requests. Let's look at gold, see what's going on here today. And we have, I think we have some other people joining the stream here today. Should be fun. We're gonna do a little bit more of a collaborative stream. If Frank wants to jump on, Chandler James, you can yell at him, get him in here before Ivan shows up. I think we're gonna have Ivan join us here today. For those of you guys who are also watching gold here, notably, we had a pretty stubborn area of support hold. Now, I need to take a look at gold. I need to see if I'm actually where I'm at with this. Gold is one of those things. I like to trade it when it's in momentum. When it's stuck like this, I really have a hard time trading it too much because, again, it is a. Think about it. What is gold's bull case? Well, a lot of times it's when the markets are very fearful, right? And for example, if we were to break with conviction here, then this is the sort of market on gold I love to trade. But when we're kind of just choppy back and forth, and economic numbers came out strong last week for both Europe, and we had PMI numbers from Europe, UK, and US. All three were relatively resilient, relatively strong. That was a bear case for the gold market. So I am interested in a gold long, but not until we start to see breakouts to the upside. Hopefully that makes sense. But again, that is tying the technicals with the fundamentals here, which is what we try and do each day on the streams. Speaking of Frank, we can bring him in. Frank, what's going on, man? We got Frank in the building.
Hello.
Hey, Frank.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Hey, say hello to some of those people you met this weekend. They're in the audience here with us. We got Angeline and Jason.
Hey, Angeline. Jason.
Yeah. Cool. It's
glad
such a
that you're
weird
here.
thing to meet them on stream, then meet them in person, and then now we're back to the streaming world. So
Jason came to say hi to me at the event, and the first thing he said was, "Hey, how tall are you?"
That's funny. It's kind of a weird concept. Like, seeing people in person has got to be a very different experience than on camera. Anyways, Frank, take us through what you're thinking on gold this week. Pretty sizable sell-off. We talked a bit about it on Friday together about PMI numbers coming out. What's your take on gold going into this week?
Yeah, so looking at dollar news going forward, my screen shared, and I was looking at a technical sort of what looked to be the start of a head and shoulders, but then it didn't really complete, but price is coming down anyways. So I think what we're looking at right now is kind of some, a little bit of fear around the market and potential dollar strength, because what we're looking at is we're going on 3 weeks or 4 weeks of rising unemployment claims. Consumer confidence is coming out this morning. GDP is forecasted to be lower on Thursday of this week. So kind of mixed.
Yeah.
Good economic news is also good for the dollar, because then it kind of takes the pressure off the Fed. They think they can hike more, but also bad economic news could also still be good because the Fed leaves no indication of cutting anytime soon.
Sure.
They might halt, but I don't think they're going to go anywhere like to work on expansion in the economy. So
sure. Yeah, and like you said, there's been rising unemployment claims, and very curious for the gold market, I think, is that that GDP number that we're going to get on Thursday. I believe that's right. Thursday, we get that GDP number. That'll be very interesting because, again, expansion in the economy is usually not necessarily a bull case for gold. In fact, shrinking is actually potentially a bullish catalyst. And we've talked about this a little bit. Inflation is still in a place where it is still stubbornly high. There's a lot of people who are there's very mixed camps. People think it's going to be able to continue to come down, and there's other people who think that it's going to have a really hard time from here. But I would say, Frank, that for me, if job claims continue to be slowing, and then GDP numbers come out potentially slowing, there is a good case
for gold.
for breakouts. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
looking for that to materialize into like a breakout to the high side, and then maybe looking for continuations back up to the high. I wanted to also take a second while you're here, Frank. We can go back to our smart money tracker. Last week, you remember we talked about gold, and you made a good point about it. This week has actually showed to be true to your point last week even more. It seems like, despite gold, I would say still having a solid year this year, here's the latest in terms of long contracts. What we can see here from COT, and for those of you who are in the audience and are not familiar with what we're looking at our COT report data. This is our smart money tracker on the Edge Finder. Frank and I, we work at a company called A1 Trading. We build software tools for traders, and this tool basically showcases what smart money is buying and selling through the commitment of traders data that we get once a week. So last week, Frank and I talked about long contracts versus short contracts on the gold market. And last week we saw a contraction in both, like shrinking in long positions and shrinking in short contracts. But this is very interesting, Frank, because we have this week, yes, there's still a dominance of long contracts open on the gold market, but we saw a small shrink in long contracts. But maybe more interestingly, we saw a pretty good sizable increase in short positions on the gold market. So to you and I's concept there of like waiting to see what sort of materializes this week before looking to potentially join, I would say, stands up with what we're seeing big money do. Big money seems to be on the, on the long side overall, but this past week has been sort of a mixed number. Before you comment on that, Frank, let me just remind you guys, if you want access to our smart money tracker, we are doing our 1-year celebration sale right now. And if you guys want access to it, we've got a couple people in the office who can give you access to it for the biggest discount price of the entire year. If you'd like access to our smart money tracker, if you want access to our retail sentiment tab, the bank signals, seasonal trends, and so much more. If you want access to that, here's how you can get it for the best price of the entire year. Click the link that's just been dropped in the chat. Here it is. This is what it looks like. Click this link. It's going to take you to a live chat feature, and you can just fill in your name and email and click tell me about your discounts. And what that's going to do is it's going to connect you with one of our team members here, and you'll be able to get access to the tool for the biggest discounted price of the entire year. Do not miss it. It is ending soon. This is the final week to get access to the Edge Finder for 40+% off. And if you message us, you'll get a great extra discount just by connecting with someone on our team. So yes, click that link, get access to the tool while you can. Frank, what do you think about that shift going again, right with your concept of last week where we saw a shrink in long positions? Now we actually even see an increase in short positions. What's your take on that?
Right. So I think it's gonna come down to what's gonna happen in the next couple of weeks. It still looks pretty mixed overall, but again, we're largely long, largely bullish gold from the smart money. Retail's still short. What it might do is what I'm looking at on the 1-day chart is a possible test in the 1950s somewhere. And even if there's a break lower, I have a trend line set up that'll take it maybe down to 1900. But yeah, potential long plays on gold or those two levels, in my opinion. If not, it could bounce early on the day, but up until Wednesday and Thursday, I don't think we're going to have like a clear idea of where price is going to move for either the gold bullion or the dollar. So
yeah,
these
so
are my
I'll
two
give you
spots.
one. Yeah, I like that. And to your point about 1950, Frank, I'll show you my chart for a second. So I think that, after what we just went over with the latest change in COT, we saw increases in shorts. Last week, we saw strong economic numbers from UK, Europe, and the US. I'm still a bull, but I'm a bull that is waiting for signs. And I think we might be in the same camp on that. I'm not necessarily looking to short gold personally. If price is able to, however, get down to that 1950, that to me should hold
I like to trade gold when it's in momentum. So I'm not probably going to be picking up positions at 1950, at least not on a momentum trading side. But I think it's very possible. Again, we saw a pickup in short positions. We saw some strong economic numbers, but very much important, I think, to watch for that GDP number coming out this week to see what's that economy looking like. And if we get a catalyst, I would say I'm a buyer on a breakout of 2010. Meaning if it breaks, if it retests, I'm looking to go long on that. So thank you for your commentary on there, Frank. We have Ivan in the building, but I think he is not quite ready yet. Whenever he's ready, we can bring him in to the conversation. But I think his camera froze from what I can see on my end. But it's all good. We'll wait for him. Let's move on to. Oh, he's here. Is he ready? Ivan, give us a thumbs up if you're ready. We'll bring him into some. So, okay, he's good. Bring him in here. Mr. Ivan.
Hey, Ivan.
Hey, Ivan. How's it going?
I'm doing well, and you?
Good. Hey, we've got the trio here. There's 3 of us in the building. I don't even know how this is going to work, but we're going to figure it out together. It's going to be fun. Ivan, Frank and I were just talking a little about gold. Do you have an opinion on the gold market right now?
Nah, not really. I'm too dived into New Zealand's short at the moment.
Okay, good, because we were looking for a topic change anyways. So tell us about this New Zealand. If you want to share your screen, we can switch over to your view. I'd be curious to. So you're thinking NZD dollar, NZD. I know you were trading NZD CAD last week. What are you looking at specifically?
Oh, it's Euro New Zealand. Anything New Zealand that can be shorted goes a long way. So I bought 150, 175. 1.755 and 176.5 last week, and I'm waiting for it to come back down to 178 or 177.5, and it hasn't happened yet, but it's just going higher and higher and higher.
Okay. So sorry, did you say that you're already in a long trade right now?
Yeah, bought there, and hoping for a buy there.
Wow, look at you. That's fantastic. So you're looking to actively add to this trade as long as it lasts. That's fantastic. Awesome. So tell us about the initial entry. What got you into it at first?
Oh, seasonality.
Okay.
And bullishness, technical bullishness, and seasonality. And I can't explain why. And then what happened was that CPI came out lower than expected, so it made New Zealand go lower.
No, I know we had some NZD. Yeah, what were you saying,
to your
Frank?
point, though, to your bullish thesis, the past couple of weeks, smart money has been on top of euro. This week was actually a decline, but for a while they've been. That's like one of our most bullish assets on the edge finder right now too.
Yeah, I wanted to show something to Ivan's point about seasonality. When looking at we're looking at the Euro New Zealand, which is what Ivan is trading. And Ivan, that's a fantastic trade, by the way. If you're 3 trades added in, those are like storytelling trades for me. So it's rare for me to get that many ads. So that's awesome. To Ivan's point about seasonality, we're looking specifically at the pair that he's trading. So Euro NZD. We're in the month of April, and we're coming into what seems to be the strongest part of the year, the summer months, April, May, June, for Euro New Zealand. So really cool to see that. And again, to Frank's point also, if we go look at that, the smart money tracker, take a look at COT. Also very interesting because you've got that euro very, very long. Now, Ivan, is it specifically the euro that you're bullish on, or is it more so New Zealand that you're bearish on?
It's a good combination of both. It's 100% New Zealand weakness, and then euro is now growing interest in the bullishness, and fundamentally is higher. So why not take advantage of both?
Sure. Yeah. No, that's a good point. So what else are you guys looking at? Ivan, what's any other trades that you're looking at, or are you solely focused Euro NZD right now?
Oh, I have a boatload. If I can speak about selling New Zealand CAD last week, which I posted in the Discord at 80.8337, and then I bought Australian dollar at good question, Ivan. Probably around 107, 107, no, 108, 20 something. So I'm just waiting for this one to continue higher, basically.
Cool. We had a donation in the chat. Let me make sure I don't miss this, and we can put this. Safa in the chat. Hi guys, long time didn't have a chance to watch your stream. You seem to have lost a bit of weight. I wonder who you're talking about. Are you talking about me, Eivindfx, or Frank? Because it could be taken as an insult or a compliment, depending on who you ask. You never know. I'm kidding. Thank you for whoever you're talking about. I know you mean well. What do you guys think about Aussie, New Zealand, and do you have any short ideas? That is one for you, Eivindfx, because again, you're looking at you're our NZD guy today. What's your thoughts on Aussie, New Zealand?
Actually, he's actually onto something. We have hit some targets. It has really gone really fast up to monthly target, weekly target. So I am very scared about continue buying this one. But if it can come down to like 1st of May, then I will buy it again. So if you can get a brand new lower low below here and then come back up at resistance, I believe that is a great sell opportunity. Very aggressive, by the way, the first one, and then new lower low, and then the pullback, or probably the best one. But it's a counter trend. So if that is part of your strategy, then sure. But I'm not going to short it.
Fair enough. I wanted to move now to a topic that's kind of an interesting market real quick. We have oil. And it did some interesting stuff because oil jumped on supply shrinking. We had some news from the Saudis who were saying, shrink in supply. It rallied higher for a little bit, and then we had some sort of hawkish tones from the Federal Reserve. Now seems to have come close to almost filling that gap entirely that we had looking left. Frank, I know you were looking at oil a little bit. Do you have any thoughts currently on the oil market? Do you have any bullish, bearish cases for us?
It was because of the OPEC meetings when they said they were cutting production. This was a couple of weeks back. And the supply shortage now is also something to look into. But I was buying into this dip, and I took a couple losses on it. So I've just been waiting on more of a confirmation, because every time I see what looks like something that's bullish, it'll just come all the way back or it'll sink lower. So at this point, I was kind of waiting for it to fill that gap and actually hit some level, and also see what smart money was up to this week. Like that was one of my main drivers, and they're semi-mixed right now on the week. They're both increasing in long and short, so it's nothing like too promising on that end. But yeah, just I've been looking at commodities, and it's been tricky trading it. So I'm looking at something. I'm going to look for something that's more like of a confirmation.
Sure. And I want to add to your concept there. You just mentioned tracking what big money is doing, just specifically with oil. We have it's actually right now proportionally the biggest long asset on the list of things that we track on the COT data, and a whopping 322,000 long contracts. Now, they did add to a short position slightly this past week, but they also added, and actually 4 times more, they added to a long position. So despite that, and I find that very, very interesting, Frank, because you had a shrink on the oil price. You had price come back and look to fill that gap. It seems like the market, from a technical analysis perspective, wants to fill it. But despite that, institutional money is very, very long. So I thought that was really interesting. Ivan, you look like you have something to say on oil. What's your take on oil right now? Yes,
Frank,
in the audience here.
Yeah, Frank, you should ask Chandler for my phone number. I would have called you, so should have called me, so you wouldn't have bought that one.
Definitely should have. I needed your advice there.
Yeah. Now the thing is that what I see when I gap on oil is that they generally do rise. Sorry, I'm just going to make it a bit less messy. But they normally come back lower. You can go through the Saudi Arabia attack. You can go through the Soleimani attack. When you have news that is very bullish, generally what tends to happen, they hit target and then people get out. So I'm not telling you to, you did something wrong here, but I really want you to investigate what happens when you have news that is not priced into specifically oil, and what generally tends to happen. And what I generally have seen is that we do jump, we may go a bit higher, and then we fall. And when we start falling and break lower lows, we go way below what the initial starting point was. So currently, I would say it's bearish, and it will continue to fall, mostly because we have exhausted the bullishness and people have taken profit. But I want you to look into that.
No, I got you. What would like confirm that maybe this is back into a bullish scenario? Like, what would you look for if price continues to fall?
I hope you ask the other question. What would lead this one to continue to rise? That would be a continuation of the news. If there's more rate cuts or more production cuts, that would increase the price continuously. But until there's no more news, then we'll continue to fall. And where is the bottom? Until it reverses bullishly. It can take some time, by the way.
Sure.
Okay, because that was quite a gap from just like the one news event that we saw. So, yeah, it was definitely a profit taking point, but it looked like a lot of momentum, I guess. So it was,
Don't be fooled.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to take over the stream here for a second. Ivan, can you, or Chandler, can you give us a breaking news slideshow real quick? Let's see if Chandler, how fast you can do it. There's your breaking news, guys, because the S&P just opened up stronger. Jason in the chat just let us know. Really cool, Chandler, you got that. The S&P trade that I'm in is starting out okay today. Had a tough week last week, just chopped around for a while. I've still got my stop loss in place, and I wanted to just come back and talk about the open here for New York session, of course. Getting going here. It's about 30 minutes into the trading day. For those of you who are watching indices, and I want to go to you guys in just a second about this, the NASDAQ starts out, pops kind of both directions. The US 30 or the Dow is up here today, and you've got the S&P 500 up today. I'd be curious to hear each of you guys' thoughts on the indices right now. We talked a little about currencies. We talked about commodities here this morning. We talked about gold. You guys have any thoughts on indices as we get into the day? Frank, what do you think?
I mean, when it comes to the resiliency of the market, it's either trending upward or it's having harsh sell-offs, or it's going the opposite direction. Like it's always like, if there's not lots of news coming out, it's just going to be trending in that upward direction. And right now it looks like they're buying into later this week's news about GDP and unemployment claims, and even though they forecast something lower than like last month or last quarter or last week, if it's any kind of beat in these expectations, it's interpreted as bullishness, which I'm not really going to say is necessarily right or wrong, but it's just the way the market has been carrying the S&P at least.
Yeah, and to your point about, I mean, resiliency, strong, some mixed earnings, but in my opinion, Frank, the bear case for a while here has been that earnings are going to have a terrible recession. They're going to be awful, and they still might. But where is it? It's not happening nearly as much as so many of the Wall Street bears have been calling for. They've been calling for just absolutely horrendous numbers, and that's what's going to take the market down. Hasn't really showed up. And in my as an active trader, I'm looking at what's in front of me, and to me, neutral or mixed earnings, in my opinion, is still bullish because it lacks what you need to drive the stock market, which has been very resilient, down further and even close to back to lows. We'll see how that forms. I just want to also make a point from a technical standpoint here this morning. Several green hours here in a row forming, just showing a lot of strength here. And as we break through this level here, which was a barrier for us last week tremendously, notably for those of you looking at SPX 500, we're talking 41.35, held several times as we chopped around last week. We just broke through that on the open. This is a 1 hour bar. So this is our first hour of the trading week with the New York session getting started here. Broke above that. I would say if we can hold above that, it's starting out like a good solid Monday morning for the S&P. We'll see if that can hold. What do you think on the indices? Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, also what my thoughts is generally is that what we tend to have done is we have priced in Fed and or FOMC, and I don't know how to explain it, but I've just seen when I go through what was the past 3 weeks before FOMC, there's always a bullish trend, and then we kind of go into some kind of randomness before we then hit FOMC again. So that's like, is it behavioral finance that I'm talking about? Like, this is what they do before, and then when Fed comes out, then we're going to react to what they're actually going to do. So to be honest, I feel like we have ended the uptrend, and we are just going into like, well, is FOMC 1.5 week? We are just going to wait until whatever happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see that the market is still staying relatively strong, despite basically the market completely expecting 25 basis points. I guess that from there, the question will be, will there be further rate hikes? And that's sort of way more up for debate and up for things. But again, like the Fed, I think most people are just going to have to wait for data to confirm or deny whether or not another rate hike is in the cards. But for now, again, pretty strong start to the week. We'll see if that can hold for those watching the indices as well. We talked a little bit about gold. I don't know if we talked a little bit about gold here this past week, but I also want to talk about the dollar. Here's DXY. Chart is down, breaking through a support level that was super stubborn this past week. We saw this, just could not get out of this range last week. It was like the most boring range bound market ever, though economic data was not super boring. We had PMI numbers come out really strong for the US, which created this terrifying candle that basically just, said hello to both sides of the range before doing absolutely nothing. What do you guys think on the dollar with everything going on? Maybe Frank, what do you think about the dollar?
So like initially, any kind of economic news that would come out seemed like it would be, bullish for the dollar, and its initial reaction was bullish. But I think what's happening, like to Ivan's point, is that the markets are pricing in. Like they're already looking at a 2% inflation rate. They're looking at maybe one more hike or two more hikes this year or something. Nothing crazy, like no like 50 basis points, 75 basis points. They're kind of just pricing in what's to come, and the market is still not, in my opinion, hasn't completed its move to the upside. Regardless of how crazy it swings, it keeps trending up. I think we're like 8% on the year or something like that in terms of gains, and the dollar has just been in a steep decline since.
Yep.
So right now, every pop up to the upside on the dollar just looks like another short setup, even though I feel strength, or I see strength in the dollar, but until I don't know if the market has looked past this already and are just getting more aggressive in the risk on environment.
Yeah, I think the one thing I would note about the dollar is like it seems like it's just in such a momentum. It's such a momentumous thing right now with such a polarized Federal Reserve positioning. Like right now, if you take a look at this is the daily chart on the longer term span, it's just like clear as day upside. And Ivan, you and I were here commenting on this tremendously. We were just like dollar bulls for like a year straight on the stream. It was like not necessarily an easy trade because during this time, my stock portfolio was not looking so pretty, but the Forex side was pretty nice because you had, the dollar just floating higher. It seems like it's one of those things where when it trends very well, it trends very, very well. And this year has been the exact opposite from last year, where again, the dollar has just been weak and staying weak. And I think that for me, and you guys feel free to disagree, take your own takes. But for me, like when the dollar is trending up, it's just something I don't want to fight. When the dollar trending down, though, it's also not something I want to fight. It's not, trying to like call the bottom of this is a really painful trade. And in fact, I would rather just be trying to ride along with things that go against it, like gold and as I've been buying indices, which we talked about a little bit earlier. Somebody in the chat just said that we just had a heckler come in saying that there was no live trading. We were literally talking about trades and things that we are in ourselves and making call outs. So we're wrong sometimes. So, if you're looking for somebody to be right all the time, wrong stream, you can keep clicking. But yeah. Anyways, yeah. But what's your take on the dollar, Ivan? I know we've got May meeting coming up. That's going to be interesting. Are you sort of in the same camp, like momentum to the downside, or do you think that there's upside for the dollar?
I think like where are we heading? What is the grand theme? The grand theme is that CPI inflation is tickling lower. We have seen a banking crisis, and I see newsletters coming out today like basically over again, because we have seen, because what was the problem with the banks was that they people took out their money, and that's how banks make money, and now that's kind of stopped. So that crisis and that thing is gone for at least for a moment. But the grand scheme of things, we are reducing our inflation slowly, and that should slowly send dollar downwards. That's at least the outlook. But there can be like a rally higher for a month or whatever in May, for that matter. But currently, overall, long term, it is bearish because of CPI, and now we're not going to have any Fed members speaking for 1.5 weeks, so we are definitely going to be dependent on data this week.
Yep, good points all around, and that correlation to the CPI is big. Frank, I think, has to bounce here. He's got something he's got to do, so we'll have to catch up with Frank on the next one. Thank you for coming in, Frank. We'll see you back tomorrow, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. So, all right, cool. It's just Ivan and I back to the original duo here. Ivan, what else? What are we looking at? What else are you? Anything else on your watch list? Or I know you're. So when you take trades, do you ever take like many trades at the same time, or usually just sort of focusing on a couple?
It depends on my conviction. So right now I have 3 different pairs on at least. So when I do that, I do 2 orders. So I cut it in half. So I take one partial take profit at an important target, and then the other one would then go until the end. So every time I take a trade, I take 2 orders. So I posted that earlier that I take partial profit. I took one off, and I still have one at that same price still going on. So I protect myself. It's kind of my way of trading stops, and you don't. So compared to trading stops, I just take profit a bit early, not when is reasonable. We have gone very quickly to target, like also New Zealand has done. Then I want to take off some risk. But I just sell limit orders. Like I just use limit orders. Sure. I don't use, of course, at support and resistance, but it's not like there's no other rules to that.
Sure. Yeah, no, and different styles for everyone who comes on our stream. We have different styles, and there's not one path to trading it correctly. And again, some people manage more trades at the same time, some people manage less. It's just personal preference. I want to show something too, Ivan, while we're on the topic of currency pairs here for a second. In terms of retail sentiment, I found this was kind of interesting. Let me make sure we get the most recent data here. Yeah, so there we go. So in terms of positioning here this week, I thought this was kind of interesting. You have dollar Swiss retail traders 93% ratioed long. This is showing like a massive preference for dollar Swiss to the long side. And what's interesting about that, Ivan, is we see dollar Swiss getting absolutely killed. And then the flip side for dollar CAD, 88% of retail traders on the short side. NZD USD, you'll like this one. Retail traders are 78% long on the Kiwi. And it's, to your point, you had that Euro NZD trade that you're in. It's flying high, and that's a fantastic trade. It seems to be the case that oftentimes what happens is retail traders,
they're looking to fade moves, and that's a really tough way to approach a strong trend, because when a strong trend starts taking off, it's really, really hard to call the top of it. And newer traders unfortunately learn that lesson over and over again, it seems. Anyways, Aussie dollar also very long biased by retail traders, and then you've got the euro, which has a very heavy short preference. And I wanted to just go over a couple of those pairs here really quick. I just want to rapid fire. So we just talked about the euro dollar. Retail traders very much are on the short side. And to me, and I think that this thing has room to squeeze on higher and head back to retest this zone. This is what I've been talking about on the channel for a little while, is, any sign of dollar strength probably gets us up to 1.1070. So that would be my take on it. I don't have any trades on the euro, but yeah, we'll take a look at some more of those real quick. I want to take a quick break here. We're going to hear from James, who's going to have a word from our sponsor. So James, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, guys, really quickly, we're going to take a break and talk about Forex Tester. So today we have something super exciting to share with you, the A1 Trading community. A1 Trading has partnered up with Forex Tester, which is a leading software for backtesting your trading ideas. Practice your Forex, futures, stocks, and crypto trading without any risk to your real capital. Their software operates similarly to the standard MT4 platform, making it easy to use. So if you're interested to getting full access to their fantastic testing platform, you can get it with a major discount by checking out the link in the description down below and using that promo code down there as well. Forex Tester is an amazing backtesting software. You've seen Nick use it all the time. Nick preaches how important backtesting is when it comes to testing your strategy, making sure that you're still making safe and using risk management correctly, because nobody wants to see blown accounts. Everybody wants to see traders being successful and practicing and sharpening their skills, and Forex Tester is the absolute best way to do that. So again, go check out the link down in the description below for Forex Tester. Use that promo code down there and you will get a massive discount on the Forex Tester software. Thanks to Forex Tester for sponsoring the show. Now, Nick, back to you.
Thank you for that, James. Yeah, and I just to continue on with what we were talking about there, a little bit with retail sentiment. The other one we mentioned, and Ivan also mentioned, he's got his NZD shorts on. You've got NZD USD here just continues to plummet down. And what I find very interesting here is that while that market continues to trend lower, we have New Zealand dollar here. We just pulled this up. Retail is very heavily long. These are contributing factors when looking to find trade setups. This is how we sort of use the Edge Finder. And Ivan, I want to get your thoughts on those pairs in just a second. But before I do, I just want to remind people our sale is ending. We have our end of the 1-year celebration sale is this week. So if you guys want access to that, we're going to drop a link one more time here. So it's just popped up in the live chat right here. So click this link and send us a DM. By clicking that link, it's going to open up a chat here. Click tell us about your discounts. That discount, which gets you 40+% off of the tool, is ending this week. So I don't want people to miss it. If you've been thinking about getting our tools, again, support the stream, get yourself the tools that we use here, and click that link. You'll be connected with one of our support reps. Ivan, what's your thoughts on, we mentioned some of the majors here, NZD USD. What do you think about retail being so heavily long on the Kiwi?
It frustrates me because I see the suffering and the emotions they're going through, and it's not just one pip, it's not just 50 pips, it's hundreds of pips that are generally wrong when they're absolutely wrong. And when I go through trading histories and I see people being short like gold at like 1950 and we had 2000, I'm like, what is going on here? And right. I couldn't. So
a lot of pain there, right?
I see the pain, and it doesn't make me happy. But on the other side, I'm like, okay, well, I guess we are going in the opposite direction. So it gives me a direction for the market where we should go, but also I see the suffering. And I haven't sold New Zealand. I should have sold New Zealand US dollar. Seasonality was I should have, but against the weak dollar. But yeah, I was thinking about around 13th of April. I never did it, so I'm not going to claim that. But I was thinking about it, but it was right, and it's probably going to continue longer down, further down. So if you have a buy on New Zealand dollar, I would at least have left it a long time ago.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. You also did mention the retail sentiment of gold. I just want to highlight that for anybody who may not have seen that. So I'm looking at it right now, and I've got gold here at about a 48 to 52%. This is part of the reason also I've been looking for gold longs, but I'm kind of waiting for this to actually polarize a little bit more. And as weird as it is, Ivan, we just got done talking about it. What would probably polarize this would not be if the market came down. It would actually be if the market starts pushing higher, retail traders would probably crowd this side of the trade, right? It's a weird concept. It's like you said, somebody, or you've heard many, I've heard many as well, people getting stuck in like a 1950 short and then holding it till like a 2070, right? Just begging that market to come back and save them, which is a recurring theme, an unfortunate theme that we see over and over. But it is what it is. It's the markets here. And if we know that unfortunately retail traders begin to crowd a trade, oftentimes it leads to some of the best trades out there. I want to go through another example real quick of this concept. Dollar Swiss. If I pull this one up for us, so it's USDCHF here. And again, remember, this is one that the crowd is incredibly long on. This is a daily chart. And I should clarify also, Ivan, what we were talking about there. You made a great point when you said, retail traders are short from far away or long from very far away. The retail trader on average is not buying the dollar Swiss here, right? That would be nice if it does rally. What we're getting at, and Ivan and I are talking about, is if retail traders are very long, they're long all the way down. Right? They're buying into something that continues to trend against them. And unfortunately, it leaves most traders at some point or another with blown accounts because they never used a stop. They put on too much size, so on and so forth. So we're here trying to share analysis with you guys in the audience to hopefully help people avoid some of the common mistakes that, again, Ivan and I, as sort of educators in this space, we've been doing it for a long time, trying to avoid. Before we start, going through how to do everything, let's at least talk about how to avoid some of the mistakes that happen over and over. And who better than Ivan, who has coached many traders, to talk on that, to see those mistakes happen over and over again. Ivan, you do some webinars within our Discord channel. Tell us about those, and how can people connect with you there?
They're generally every Wednesday morning, London Open, Friday, Wednesday and Friday, London Open, and now there may come every Wednesday, New York close as well, around that time at least. So we will go through. I open always with, what is your problem? What is your issue? Speak to me so I can help individual people. So we're a group of 10 to 20 people. I go through markets, I go through psychology, I go through what actual traders are actually struggling with in that moment, and we just have fun for give or take a half an hour, and yeah.
It's really that is truly invaluable, and I want to show you guys just a little bit of a look inside of the Discord really quick. So Ivan has been with us in our community. We brought him on. He's been fantastic. So many people love his contributions. Also, you guys met Frank earlier. If you guys are interested in joining our Discord and keeping up to date with the trio here, Frank, Ivan, and myself, inside of our group, we share trades that we're taking, but more importantly, we share why we're taking them. We also do coaching sessions. Ivan hosts those a few times a week where he, like he said, he answers questions. He goes through comments and concerns from members. If you guys are interested in this, we do also have our sale ending on this for the 1-year celebration sale that we're doing. If you guys want access to this, we're going to drop that link one more time. Encourage you to chat with one of our staff members who are on deck here, who can get you set up. And once you're in there, if you guys want coaching, Ivan also does one-on-one coaching. So if you're looking for that, if you're watching, if you're just someone who's tuning into these streams and you're like, I'm a little bit lost, I don't know what I'm doing, don't just wander endlessly. Don't just lose money in the markets for no reason. Come learn something. Come chat with us. Come learn with us. You can see the trades being taken, join our coaching calls, and so much more. So we just dropped this link right here. click this link, send a direct message, and ask about our Discord VIP, and someone can get you added in there so that you can check it out for yourself. It is well worth to join. Ivan, that's going to probably wrap up the stream from us, I think. Thank you for, I enjoyed doing the collaborative stream. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I loved it too, and it seems like people have loved it too as far as I've gone through the comments.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to try and do this more often. So, Ivan, thank you for joining me. Everyone in the audience, thank you for being here today. And we're going to wrap up the stream there. We'll call it good. See you guys next time.
Thanks again for watching today's show. Our goal at A1 Trading is to Thanks again for watching today's show. Our goal at A1 Trading is to continue to share free value to our audience through daily videos and articles, keeping you up to date with the latest market coverage. If you enjoy our content, make sure to subscribe for more. And remember, you can improve your trading performance 30 times faster with Forex Tester 5. Backtest your strategies using real historical data. From all of us at A1 Trading, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.